Regina Burris, owner and wedding coordinator at Weddings by Regina Marie.
And I'm Kate Berry, photographer and owner of Kate Berry Photography. The We Do Wedding podcast is devoted to sharing real talk from the vendors who say we do to making your wedding dreams a reality.
Each week, we'll talk with wedding professionals who share about their businesses, offer tips and expertise, and divulge behind-the-scenes stories and secrets that will help you plan your perfect wedding. As a wedding planner and photographer, we spend more time with the couples than most other vendors. From the months and sometimes years-long planning process, the engagement session, and the wedding day itself, we are with you from beginning to end. So who better to bring you the raw and nitty-gritty? Stay tuned as we bring you another episode of the We Do Wedding podcast. Hi guys, I'm Regina,
And I'm Kate.
and today we spoke with Irsa and Paulo from John Paulo Film. They are a videography company located in Connecticut, in the Hartford area, and they're a husband and wife duo who do amazing work. I have not had the pleasure of working with them, but Kate has, and she can tell you all about their professionalism. We spoke with them, and I'm just like, I can tell you that I'm super excited to speak with them. I can't wait. I'm going to recommend them to people because I'm like waiting for a couple to book them so that I can work with this couple. They were fantastic to speak with. We spoke for over 2 hours. We're going to cut that down in this episode for you guys. But they were just so great to speak with and just an awesome, awesome couple. Kate?
Yeah, I mean, they just are like the full package. So they're super sweet and nice, down to earth. They are awesome communicators and they're all over the details. And then they do this fantastic, gorgeous, emotional work. So there's just no reason not to hire them if you're looking for a wedding filmmaking team. And I think after you listen to this conversation, you will understand why.
And with that, let's jump into the episode. So today we're here with John Paulo Films, husband and wife team, and they're going to talk to us all about their business today, and we can't wait to get into the details. So,
Yeah, do you guys want to tell us a little bit about your business, where you're located, and what you do?
Sure. So my name is Paulo,
I'm Irsa.
and as Regina said, we are a husband and wife wedding filmmaking team. We are based out of Hartford, Connecticut area. We've been doing this for about 2 years, and it's a part-time business for us because we work full-time in the hospital. She's a nurse in the operating room, and I'm on the hospital administration side. But we kind of just fell into the wedding filmmaking thing and loved every minute of it, and we haven't looked back since. So
Awesome. I cannot wait to dive into talking to you guys because brief history, I met Paulo and Irsa at a wedding that I photographed this summer and they were filming. And it was a whirlwind. It was a roller coaster ride of a wedding. It was beautiful, but there was some serious drama with the weather that we can talk a little bit more about. But I connected with them immediately. They were super, super on top of things, so much so that they actually emailed me prior to the wedding, which that might seem normal, but it is not, unfortunately. So that formed an instant connection, and I sort of immediately trusted them. And then, we got there, it was pouring, torrentially pouring. And we were uncertain about where exactly the wedding was going to take place, and there was a lot going on, but these two were super calm, cool, collected, and just nice, just easy to be with. So right off the bat, that was that was amazing. So the day went on from there. We had a great time, but I've been looking forward to this conversation because I think these two are really, really great, and they're super fucking talented. So
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
That truly does mean a lot. So
awesome.
and it's funny that you said that when I reached out to you that you don't normally get that, and I've never understood why just other vendors don't do that, because I feel like at the end of the day we're all on the same page. We're all a team that's trying to deliver the ultimate product and experience to the couple. So yeah, I think that's definite must for any vendors, just to reach out to the other and just make sure, hey, this is the timeline of the day. You know, we want to make sure that we're all in this together. So
We actually, when we first meet with our clients, make that a priority to stress that we would like all your vendors' information, your wedding coordinator, the photographer, DJ, everyone, and that we actually take the time out to talk to them all first and go over your timeline before we meet with them again before their wedding, and make sure we're all on the same page. And the clients are happy with it, and it just makes the day smoother for everyone.
yeah. So
Yes, as a coordinator, I can tell you that means so much to me, because I have, vendors who, I give out the information. I say, this is the team, this is the list of vendors. We have, I use a software called Timeline Genius. So we have everyone's information all connected. You can look on and see, like, if you may have not gotten it from me, if I may have slipped, it happens. But if I may have slipped and not giving you that information, and you have at the bottom of the timeline all the vendors, and so there's no reason for you to not reach out to someone. So I like to think that as a photographer and a videographer, you guys may get in each other's way, you may cross wires, and so it's definitely important for me for you to at least be in sync, those two vendors.
yeah.
So the fact that you guys are saying that you reach out and you contact not only the photographer that you're going to work with to make sure that you guys are in sync, but all the other vendors, means a lot to me, just from a planning point of view.
And also personally, you're meeting so many people the day of, and I'm just like not so smooth with like new introductions and like knowing everybody right off the bat. So it just makes it so much easier that we've had conversations before and you know exactly who to go up to that day. You're not like tapping random people on the shoulder and like, do you know what's going on? So
yeah.
It just
exactly.
Yeah, it just makes for such a great day. You already feel like you know everybody there. You've already established your like family for the day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So can I ask, from a film point of view, what time do you guys like to come in? Do you like to start, and I wanted to ask you this too, Kate, but from a videography point of view, do you like to start like before they start getting ready so that you get a picture of the full day, or just after hair and makeup? What do you guys think makes the best film?
Yeah, so we start pretty early. So if the bride says they're going to start getting ready at around 10 or 11, we like to get there maybe an hour before, just because we like to start setting up our equipment. And then in the meantime, we start shooting B-roll stuff. So we start shooting the venue, we start shooting drone footage, because once the day starts, it's hard to carve out time to step aside, set up the drone, fly the drone, make sure it's not distracting everyone else that's at the wedding, because it's loud, it's buzzing, it sounds like a bunch of bees are flying everywhere. So we just try to get that stuff out of the way in the beginning, and then just getting ready. And then in terms of how late we like to stay, we like to stay as late as possible. Part of our packages is we don't really charge extra for staying late. For us, we want to make sure that we're capturing everything that we can, because ultimately that's going to serve the end product. So it's really important for us to get there early, and then if necessary, we will stay late.
Awesome.
Yeah, just I've had some videographers who are like, well, the brides don't like for us to capture them before they've had hair and makeup done, so we'll come, after they've already started their hair and makeup and things. So I just wanted to know, from a different point of view, what you guys thought was more logistical.
So that is true. And I remember when we first started out, I had to have a conversation with him, like, no footage of extensions, no footage of eyelashes, nothing before the eyeliner goes on. Cause I remember sitting there as a bride and being like, oh my God, please don't put this in the footage, you know? But
And I remember thinking, like, what are you talking about? What's the big deal? It's a nice shot. It's well framed. It's well lit.
like, she's
Like,
so nervous right now. Stop filming her before she's all done up.
yeah.
But no, it just, and also like weather, as we learned with Kate, like weather plays a huge role for us,
Yeah.
with all of our audio equipment, with all of our lighting equipment. So the earlier that we get there and can account for any unexpected changes, we're able to, change up what we do and stuff. So
Yeah. I mean, just like the last wedding we shot, we were on the beach and we got there pretty early and we used that time to fly the drone. And then later in the day, when most people would have started flying the drone, it got incredibly cloudy and windy. So if we didn't get there early, we wouldn't have been able to get those beautiful drone shots.
I don't know if you remember, but because of COVID, there was another bride in the neighborhood who also changed up her wedding from her wedding location and decided to do her ceremony on the beach and her photos on the beach. So the time that we would have been getting there and capturing the drone footage
and B-roll,
they actually were on the beach, which they hadn't intended, and so we wouldn't have been able to get any of that because they would have been out there getting their stuff, and they had coordinated it with the bride and the groom that we were filming. And our bride and groom hadn't thought of that.
Think much about it.
Right. And understandably, they're just like, oh no, that totally doesn't take into our ceremony time. But thankfully we had gotten there early enough that we were able to get it all out of the way.
Otherwise you would have, what would you have done? Just say, hey, can you get off the beach? Like,
we need the beach.
Oh my gosh. Or the footage is just, don't worry about that other couple down there getting married. Right. Don't worry about that.
That's you guys.
That's not the couple. That's not the actual
2
couple.
for 1
That's
package.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to ask a question because I've heard you say it twice, but just for me, like layman's terms and for certain people listening, what's B-roll? So you say you're shooting for B-roll.
Yes. So B-roll is basically, just think of it as supplemental footage to the main subject, which is the bride and the group. So it could be things of like the scenery, the venue. In some cases, it could just be like of the dress, anything that's not the main subject of the film, that is B-roll. So
gotcha. So the details that kind of make everything fuller.
So if you ever see me like in the grass, just filming, like just like trees and stuff, that's me getting B-roll. Or if I'm, she's out just zooming in on like pebbles on the beach, that's B-roll.
Like with Kate, we were under the tent. They had decided to put up the tent, and we were under the tent just getting the raindrops for like 20 minutes. And I'm sure like everyone was like, "What are they doing? Just staring at the raindrops?" We were trying to get that footage.
B-roll.
And let me just interject really quick. So Regina, before you got on, we were talking about this wedding that we did together, and with all the crazy weather, and they sent me the video, the finished product, and I watched it before they hopped on, and I had myself a good little cry and then cleaned up my eye makeup. But the thing about B-roll is that it adds such emotion, and it's like at the end of the video when you just have like the flowers with like dripping with rain, I was just like, oh God.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know, but it just adds this like depth, this rawness to it. Oh my God.
It enhances the story. So
for sure.
Yeah.
I need to see this video.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, they do really amazing work.
Nice.
Okay, I'm going to ask a big picture question.
Sure.
Which is, it's a two-parter. How did you get into the industry, and what drives you in the wedding industry?
I'll take the first part.
Sure.
So we had just gotten married and we knew that we wanted to travel. So we started, like booking vacations and traveling. And I don't even know how he had just somehow gotten into, wanting to capture film, and it just became like a little hobby. And we started making travel videos and travel films of just like our adventures and everything that we were doing. And it like really became an art form for him. And then our friends all around us started getting married and having like big life events. And then they asked us to, film for them or like help them out and capture small things here and there. And when we started putting it together, we're like, we could actually be good at this. This is kind of fun. And it was something originally that started out was like his, hobby, his thing, and I was like on the sidelines just like watching and being like a fan. And then when we started like
you were a model too.
And a model.
Yeah.
I saw you on your website.
She was my model / actress and like all the stuff that I did in the beginning. So
super unprofessional. But I think when we started, like our friends started asking us to help out and, like film things, and I kind of like tag team with him, we just kind of found this like really fun thing to do together. And we're like, we could be good at this and maybe we should, try doing this professionally. And we just kind of like threw ourselves into it. He's an excellent teacher, thankfully, because I'm the worst student. But we made it work, and ever since we've just been into it. And it's been so fun to do it together. And then
the fact that I can do this with my partner, with my best friend, with my wife, it just makes it that much more special, that it's something that we both love to do. And then we get to share that with the world. Well, the stuff that we made together, that's something that we really enjoy and it's special to us. So,
and let's be honest, because you can like, when you start a new hobby, you can kind of start seeing the other person like spiraling, like really diving into it, and then like all of a sudden you're like, I haven't seen them all day, like where are they, so it's kind of becoming that kind of thing where I was like, oh, like I'm probably not gonna be hanging out with him a lot, like he's so into the video thing. And me being like the complete psycho, I'm like, how can I get into this?
I have to get into it to save my marriage.
No, it happened naturally, but it was definitely something that like he was getting so passionate about. He was ordering all this stuff and like watching YouTube videos all the time, and like kind of like carving out opportunities, reaching out to people. And I could just see he was so passionate about it. And then just a few times that we did it, it was so like, it really was so fun.
Yeah, I handed you the camera and then I said, hey, why don't you shoot this? And then you really enjoyed it. So
I still get so nervous when people ask me camera questions. I was like,
you do really good work.
And then Jess, what drives
what drives us in the wedding films? So I think what drives us is that, just to start, that we love making films, short films, just in general. Like it's a creative outlet for us. Like we said earlier, we don't do it full time, and so the time that we have, we just throw ourselves at it. So whether it's shooting travel films, whether it's shooting just stuff of us hanging out with our friends, promotional stuff, weddings are it's a different niche, and it's a great challenge because it's kind of like a once in a lifetime moment for the couple, and there's so much pressure throughout the day, and you cannot screw that up. You have one shot at it, and I think as an artist, it forces you to really challenge yourself, and that's, as filmmakers, that's what we're always trying to do, is how can we get better at this? How can we challenge ourselves and be better at our art? So
do you guys feel that pressure too every time? Like if you just have that one shot, this one day, that like, especially as a wedding coordinator, like they're going over every detail with you,
right.
And like to execute that's got to be a lot of pressure.
I get very invested in my couples. A lot of times, like depending on the package, obviously like full service planning packages, I'm working with those couples on a very close, timeline and a very close relationship over the course of months, sometimes a year and a half to 2 years. Right. So especially now with COVID, when everyone's moving their weddings, 1 and 2 years away. So I tend to get really close with them. You're emailing them every week and sometimes every day, towards the closer days, my day of couples, and the 2 months leading up that their day of package starts, it's really, really close conversations that we need to have to make up for the time, because their packages start 2 months in advance. So to make up for that time from they booked. So I get super close with them. I've talked with them. I've gone into their house sometimes. I've like ridden in cars with them. You build this relationship and they're telling you all these details, so that one day it's like obviously with a timeline, and you put everything into a timeline, you have very specifics on paper and, written down, and you pour your heart out into this timeline, but you still have all those details in the back of your head on that day. Like, okay, the weather's not perfect. What are we gonna do? Like we can't mess this up. What's our
Yes,
contingency for the
exactly.
weather? Like you have to have backup plans for your backup plans in case things don't go according to plan. And Kate and I had this conversation with another vendor. There's always something that tends to go wrong. On the back end, you're like, but your couples can't find out. Like the fact that you.
Yeah.
So I work super hard to make sure that the day goes off well. Like I don't want anyone to ever feel like any details were missed, or things didn't go off exactly the way they needed to. So it's a lot of pressure. Long story short, it's a lot of pressure
No, I
to make
bet.
sure this day goes off, because I speak with them a lot more and in a lot more detail than any of their other vendors. So
Right.
Yeah.
and I feel like a lot of times if something happens with another vendor, it's I feel like that falls on me as well. Like it's so I'm
Absolutely. I
kind
was
of.
gonna say, because we're just there to capture whatever they told us and envision and stuff, or like caterers there to execute whatever, and you're kind of like the backbone behind that, right? Everyone goes to you if something doesn't happen. They're like, well, what's the answer?
Yeah. So a lot of times we've had situations where we're really close with parents, and with weddings you have your couple as your client, but then the bride's parents and the groom's parents all want their say, and sometimes there's a maid of honor or best man who want their say, and there's oftentimes family dynamics. So you end up being a counselor. You end up being a
Yes.
lot. So you do get really, really
Yeah.
invested into not just your couple, but everyone else. And you need to please everyone else, because everyone's opinion of you kind of matters. So everyone needs to feel, even though you have your
Right.
couple as your client, everyone needs to feel like their says are, kind of represented. So it's a lot of pressure.
Mhm.
But on the flip side, it's also very fulfilling too, because
Yes.
you kind of get this, instant connection with a family, and they instantly, like have trust and rely on you, and you're kind of welcomed into their family that day. And,
Yes.
it's fulfilling when they're happy, and, they're having the best day, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's a day all about them. They have the best day of their life,
Yes.
Right.
and you feel accomplished and very
I do.
grateful.
One of my favorite moments is when like a mom comes up to me and she's like, I'm having the best time. I don't have to handle anything. Whenever anyone asks me a
Yeah.
question, I'm sending them to you. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
So
I bet.
I love those feelings.
And Kate, I imagine it's like for us, it's what we go through is what you go through as well. It's like you have that one, you have to capture that one moment. Otherwise, the couple is going to be really pissed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
So,
100%. Like,
yeah.
and it's funny, like, it was interesting watching, and it's always interesting for me to watch the videos from weddings that I've shot, because I'm seeing the flashes. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, did I get it? Like, did I get the moment? There's so many things that, like, so I love film and I love videography. I know nothing about it. And it's one of those things that seems like so beyond the reach for me. So I'm like awed by it. I'm just awed by the final product that you guys create. On the flip side, I kind of watch you panning throughout the day, you getting like these few seconds of like these beautiful moments. And there's a difference there in how you and I capture emotion, because you get those few moments, you get motion, and like as things happen through time, it's up to me to capture the moment. And you're right, throughout the day there are several of these moments that if something happens over here, like I trip or my camera doesn't, my shutter doesn't work or something, like they're not doing that first kiss again, like
Exactly.
you're not gonna, that first look happens once.
So, and the thing is, like for us, we have the luxury of like we just hit record and then we just kind of make sure it's in frame, and
Right.
then in post and edit we can just cut a second off that and then slow it down.
Yeah.
Whereas, as you said, you have to be there at that exact moment, otherwise.
Yeah, and that's
And I don't think I could live with that.
Right.
That's
why
which is why I don't do photography.
Yeah, that's why it's so important for us to be on the same page with our photographer, because we value those moments for, it's all for the couples at the end of the day. Our film, your photos, we want to make sure they're getting everything that they want out of their day. And it's so important for us to know that you're able to operate how you want to. So, meeting up, talking, and having a clear cut plan, and just like even those small discussions that we had throughout the day of, I'll be over here. How do you want to go in first? We'll go in after, like we can all adjust, but no one should miss those moments, because of miscommunication. So,
or if I get in your way, Kate, because I know like I'm on the I'm on this gimbal stabilizer and I'm just moving constantly throughout the day. So I'm just always in the back of my mind thinking, am I screwing up the photographer right here? So
you're always in my way.
My
footage.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So I always ask the photographers, I'm like, if he's in your way, just let me know. But I don't know how you're not, like, everyone says, no, he's totally fine. But
I think they're just being nice. I think I am. And
when you look at my footage, it's like, beautiful. Oh, there's Paulo, never mind. I'm like, oh, great shot, you got in it.
Yeah. I have had that problem with videographers and filmmakers at weddings before, but I'm trying to remember, like, as I was going through their album when I first, I'm like uploading all the images, and I don't remember seeing a lot with you guys in them. Like random or weirdly, you do kind of stay out, and
it's not my way.
But that does come down to communication too. Right. It was the communication from the get-go. It was us like huddling in the morning, us huddling before the ceremony, like just being cognizant of, each other as human beings and as fellow artists, and being on the same team and not feeling like a competition, because hello, it's not. We're doing two totally different things that matter equally to the couple.
And that's something that I was going to say. I, as the outsider and the unbiased, viewer, I have seen a couple times where there's a videographer and a photographer, and it's kind of like, move out of my way. Like I'm trying to get this shot. Well, I'm trying to get this shot. Well, mine's more important. No, so I have seen that. So to hear you guys both talk about the fact that you're, trying to work together and you communicate, it's amazing for me. So
yeah, we'll even talk about, like what lenses photographers prefer to use versus what we prefer to use, because you can make those changes. Like if someone has times where they need to be up close, we can change our lens out so that we're further, or vice versa. And it's literally just a matter of communication. There's no reason why anything should get missed or be a competition, because with all the technology and everything, it's easy to manage,
100%. Yeah. And I will, the one other plug that I will just put in for you guys, because I'm like, if every couple that hired a videographer hired you, I'd be so happy. Although, yeah, there's great videographers out there. We're going to talk to them all, but backpedal. But no, you guys are amazing. And one of the things that I really appreciated was knowing that, I don't know how to put this into words, just knowing from your presence on the wedding day that Jen and Gina were in good hands. There was something like very caring and very client focused in a real authentic way that was obvious from the get-go. So that's what matters most to me.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, it does mean a lot.
We definitely have an emotional investment.
And we always, when we meet with clients, her and I always stress, we want to make sure that there's a good vibe coming from the clients and there's a good vibe coming from us, and that there's going to be this mutual beneficial relationship. We want to make sure that they're going to be happy to work with us and we're going to be happy to work with them. And then throughout the year or several months, we're just in communication to make sure that, hey, we're still on the same page. What's going on? Do you have any questions for us? So just to make sure things go as smoothly as possible once the big day hits. Oh, I'm going to throw a popcorn to my dog because he's Cooper.
Yeah, that's why, I don't know if you guys saw me, I just muted because my dog was starting to make noises too. It's like, oh gosh. So, but okay, so to ask a question along that line, so who do you feel is your ideal couple, and who do you feel you guys are, perfect for?
So it's hard to answer, because I don't know that we actually set out and say this is an ideal couple or ideal client for us. We've been very fortunate that the way that our business has worked out, it's always been somebody that, refers us or worked with us and had good things to say. So we've had the benefit of knowing whoever's coming to us already has an appreciation. But we've been recently getting more newer clients that may not have had a personal reference but saw our work. And one of the things that we really want to hear or see when we talk to them is that they have an appreciation for our work. We'll ask them, what is it about the videos that you liked, or why are you thinking about going with us? Because we want to know that they're picking us not just because we checked off a checklist for them, like, oh, they include this is that they really actually have an appreciation for our work.
Yeah.
And like, for example, we just met with a client, and it was it meant everything to us that he said, my mom watched your videos and she cried at all these strangers' weddings, and she called me up and told me that she was crying at strangers' weddings. And like, that right there, we had that instant connection with them where we were like, wow, like that means something to us. And that's kind of our ideal client that we want to see moving forward. We always want them to bring something, or have like a personal feel for our work.
We just want to make sure that we're the right fit for them. If they watch our stuff and they like the way, we try to bring some of that documentary style, naturalistic style from our travel films hopefully into our wedding films. And if a couple really digs that, then that's exactly the couple that we want to work with, because that gives us the creative freedom to do what we enjoy doing.
Yeah, we lay it out for them that when we meet with them that we're not that like cookie cutter, like from beginning to end, like getting the shot of them getting ready, then this and this and this. We could be, and we always say, if you really want that, we could be, but we like to have add a little bit more creativity and change it up a little bit and make it more of like storytelling, like a story of the couple and what they're all about. And we like to bring extra elements to it. So most of our couples are really receptive to that and enjoy that aspect. So I think that's what kind of sets us apart and our clients.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And how many?
Well, I was just, no, that's okay. I was just going to say that really hits home with me, because I feel like you just articulated something that it's always right under the surface for me. And it's kind of hard to articulate with clients, potential clients, which is like, I look at other wedding photographers' websites and I look at their blog posts, and there's a formula, we all know it in the industry. We've all seen it a million times, and it's beautiful. And it's formulaic. And personally, like, can I get those shots? Can I do the lay flat? Can I do the close up of the ring? Can I get the dress hanging in the window? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, sure. Is that what lights me up? No. And big picture brain is thinking like, okay, is this going to add to a pretty blog post? Hell yeah. Is this going to help me get published in a wedding magazine? Hell yeah. Is this a photo that this couple is going to give a shit about in 25 years? And if it's a no, then I just can't, my heart's just not going to be in it. So if it's important to people, those particular shots, absolutely, I'll get them. But I want to focus on the heart of the day, the beating heart that makes that wedding unique. So I just here for that.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's kind of like really, it's scary thinking about stepping away from that norm, because like you said, like it's kind of what everyone sees on blog posts and social media. So every couple has that expectation, right? Every couple wants to see those, even if they didn't think about it, but they want to see that same formula because that's what they're used to seeing. And that's what, they think that maybe you missed a beat because you didn't get it or something, and it's kind of scary stepping out of that, expectation of what's out there on social media and blog posts and all this stuff. I think that's, I think we don't really give enough credit to how much we are influenced by that, even creatively ourselves.
Yeah.
Like I know that we'll make a video, and then sometimes like I'll watch someone else's, and like I just will like start thinking like, why didn't we do that? Like, or we missed that, or we should have formulated like this. And then, and we loved our video, but then we just start like or at least me, I start like overthinking it and thinking like, oh, but what that they probably would have liked that better. And, and that's not always the case. It's just us being influenced by something we had no expectation of,